Welcome aboard the Ear to There podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, a Disney-specialized travel agency. It's my job to take away the stress, the anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. Oh, and did I mention that I do all of that for free? Yes, all of my services have always been and will always be 100% free of charge to you. You can find this podcast, my blog, or request a free, no obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. This is episode number 49 for the week of January 2nd, 2017. Yes, that's right, 2017. Happy New Year, everybody. Now grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. Okay, so you've decided to take the plunge. You booked your latest Walt Disney World trip, and it's coming up really, really quickly. But now you might be a little bit stuck. What exactly should you do to prepare for a trip to Walt Disney World? I get this question all the time, and I know a lot of people out there are wondering the same exact thing. And that's exactly why this week's topic is the top ways to prepare for your trip to Walt Disney World. Here to discuss how we get ready and prepare for our Walt Disney World vacations is a man who is basically a Boy Scout when it comes to preparation. As a matter of fact, he has the lyrics to Scar's "Be Prepared" tattooed across his lower back. Johnny Shortsleeve, welcome back to the show.
And on the front of my chest, it says griddle cakes. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me back, buddy. It's always fun to talk to you. And yeah, I love being prepared. I'm not going to lie. It's one of the most satisfying things to me to say, all right, I got a vacation lined up and let's see if we can get everything squared away because we don't want to leave anything behind, nothing to chance. Let's rock and roll and have a good time.
Yeah, you do strike me as a bit of an over planner. Is that what we're looking at here? You kind of like, do you do everything down to like the second when you're on a vacation?
Not that hardcore, but definitely I do. I'm a fan of the list, and I'm a fan of marking things off the list. It's wildly satisfying to mark something off the list that you've done and feel like that sense of accomplishment. I'm the most productive of any day of the year, the day before I go on vacation.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful feeling. So it's kind of like you almost want to plan like maybe like quarterly vacation just so you can clean the house and get everything done that you said you're going to do. And it's like kind of like that fire under your tail that you need to get some stuff done.
Dude, it's so fun. I leave in like 3 days, less than 3 days at this point, for Walt Disney World. And I've been doing more laundry in the last couple of days than I think I've done in the last like 3 weeks because I'm like, I know I have more t-shirts than this. And I can't wear it. It's going to be like 80 when we get there. So I'm running around the house looking for t-shirts, trying to find my shorts. And meanwhile, my wife's like, why didn't you do this last week? I'm like, because last week was Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and everybody else. I know that this is the first show, I think, right? Am I crazy? No, this is the first show of 2017. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, right on. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you too. So is your washer and dryer, they just screaming at you like, why? Give me a break.
They're still on right now. Luckily, when we moved into our new house, we had a brand new washer and dryer. So that was cool. So it's not my old one that was like falling apart that I had to kick the door closed to keep the dryer running. Anyway, we're off on a tangent already. Let's get down to it. I promised myself.
Legit. I mean, that's the watermark of our podcast. Just going off on tangents.
It's true, and you know what's funny is this. You mentioned this to me, and this couldn't be a more timely topic for me because I leave in like hours, and I'm like, okay, well, you have to leave in a few hours, but I have to record a podcast and edit it and get it online. So let's go. But yeah, so we do. The tangents kind of, yeah, they make the podcast a lot of fun. I explain to people when they're like, which one should I listen to? I'm like, listen to the one with Johnny Shortsleeve and I, and carve out a weekend because you're going to need it. Yeah, you need that much time.
Yeah, man. Well, let's see. We'll keep it tight for you because I know you got a lot to do to get ready for your big trip
it's
here.
True.
So.
It's true.
And,
yeah, we're excited.
It's so amazing that we're talking about this as you're in the middle of doing it.
Yeah. So, see, I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. Definitely do what I say, not what I do, because I'm not going to tell you the things I've really been doing the last couple of days. It's a lot of yelling at my children. No, not really.
Yeah. I knew that was a joke. You're one of the best dads I know, man. 100% sincerely. It's like I see you with your kids and like, wow, this guy's got a real good head on his shoulder. He's a great dad. So when you said that, I was laughing. Like, this guy doesn't yell at his kids.
No, my kids know that if I don't have to yell. I just wave the gun around and they listen.
You just raise that one eyebrow like the Rock.
Yeah, they sit down, fold their hands in their lap.
They hear your skin cells move with that one eye. Say, "Oh no, oh no, here it goes."
Meanwhile, I'm wrestling today with my son, trying to get him in a car seat to go out. He's
it's breaking any more ribs doing that.
I didn't. My rib is feeling good.
Congratulations.
That's a good thing. Yeah. So. I am coming down for Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. I am scheduled to run the half and the full marathon. We will see what happens. I am lining up for both races, I've decided. And the half, I know I can walk fast and finish without a problem. So I'll do that. And then the full, we'll see. If I wake up on Sunday and I feel really lousy, I'm just not going to go.
Did you pack your hoverboard?
No, I just I could be one of those guys that like hides out and then just runs across the finish line with not a drop of sweat on them.
We used to do that in high school, man. In gym class, I had first period gym class, and my school is in a valley, and it always was foggy. And so what would happen was our coach, our gym teacher, was staying on one side of the track, and we would go and tell us to run a mile or whatever. As soon as we get about halfway down the track, we couldn't see him anymore because it was so foggy. So we just zip across the field. So we were running like a half mile instead of a mile.
And you guys were the fastest. You're like breaking land speed records for the mile too.
Oh no, we take our time. We weren't dumb. Like we'd say, we gotta pace ourselves. We gotta figure out. We can't be busting through with these 4-minute miles or whatever these crazy numbers are.
You're not. You're not. What's his name? Meb, and I can't say his last name. Kefla something.
Yeah, we're not
American marathon runner.
We're not Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
We weren't built like Usain Bolt. So we were smart about it.
Speak for yourself. I was. I know I wasn't. All right, here we go. We got to go back. We got to get back on track here. Okay. So here's what I was going to say, right? So trips to your Walt Disney World trip's a big commitment, okay? Costs a lot of money. You have lots of planning involved. You want everyone to have a great time. So that's why this, I think, will be a good topic because I look at it as like a challenge, and I look at it as a challenge with my clients too. Like, I want my kids and my wife to have the best trip possible. And I take it very personally to make them. You're going to have the best time possible. No, to help them have the best time possible. So, and the days and the weeks going into the trip or leading up to the trip are super important, I think, and not only getting yourself ready, but getting yourself excited to go to Walt Disney World. I think, so that's kind of the way I went about my list. So I don't know how you did it. I know you and I, sometimes we steal each other's, but lots of times we differ on the way we do these lists. So I'm really interested in seeing what you have lined up here.
So a couple of things. So I'm a local now, so this is a very different exercise for me. I'm super, super grateful. I don't take it for granted at all that I live really close to Walt Disney World. But I didn't grow up in Orlando, so there were definitely many times in my life, as a child, even as an adult, where I would go on Disney vacations, not living in the Orlando area. And I remember very fondly like what the process was to plan for it and to prepare for it. And it was just, to me, it gave me a lot of energy to just have a vacation on the books to look forward to. And so there was a lot of things that really helped me to through that process. And so I have a feeling there's going to be a couple things on my list that you don't have, but there's a couple I'm really kind of worried you may steal from me. So I have a couple extras just in case, some safeties. And so basically this would be the list that I would be sharing with a friend of mine who was going to prepare for a trip to come down here to Walt Disney World and say, hey, this is what I think you should do. It helped me, and hopefully it'll help the listeners too.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that. I like that the way that you went about it, and like I said, I kind of went about it almost the same way. So it'll be interesting to see what we have.
Yeah.
All right, man. So you're the guest. You have more than I do, so I think it's only fair that you should probably go first.
Okay. No, thanks, man. So the first thing, this was a very big thing for me. The thing that really helped me to get psyched up for my trips to Walt Disney World was I used to listen to attraction or show or background music on a loop. So like, for example, one of the biggest things that I love to, and I still listen to this all the time, is the background music that was played at the Polynesian. They've changed the background loop recently, like within the last 5 years or so. But then I knew a guy who had like the original recordings. So he hooked me up with a copy and I would listen to this stuff nonstop. Or there were other, attraction, the background music or the soundtracks to the attractions or the shows. I'd listen to those. There used to be a website out there called Live 365 that had a lot of that stuff that was on there.
I remember that website. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now no longer a site. I don't know what happened to it. It got shut down, or they shut it down. And I've looked. There really isn't a lot out there anymore. The best place though is YouTube. There's a lot of people who put stuff out there on YouTube with all that audio content. I don't know if you remember this, Phil. They used to have a thing at Walt Disney World. It was like this, like a jukebox almost, where you could go there and you said which audio tracks you wanted, and they would burn a custom CD for you.
I remember that.
And when they disappeared, and I would ask all the cast members, like, what happened to that thing? And no one ever had a straight answer for me as to why they didn't do it anymore. I thought it was brilliant. So maybe a lot of the stuff you're hearing on YouTube is from those days when they ripped some of the original audio recordings onto those CDs and they purchased them. You can buy some of that music in the gift shops or online through the Disney parks has some pretty cool like things on the app now you can buy through their little the parks app, which you probably put a link to it if you want, and or probably people just illegally hacked the system. Russia hacked Disney and it's putting all this stuff on YouTube. But it's, to me, what the reason I did that was because it really helped me to kind of put myself in the place of being there. So I was able to kind of mentally prepare for that experience and got really, really psyched up for what I was going to be experiencing when it actually came time for the vacation. So that was something that was really huge for me. And I would listen to it at work, or I'd listen to it at home and in the car, wherever I could. And I don't know if that's borderline obsessive, and I would say that I have a problem. But that was, to me, like probably the number one thing that I did to really get prepared and psyched up for a Disney vacation.
Dude, I do that now. I really do. When I know I have a big day of work where I'm either planning a lot of trips or I'm editing shows or writing a blog post, I'll sit in my little office with my computer on to YouTube, and I'll just play those loops. I'll sit and listen to them for hours, kind of really low volume in the background. Because you're right, you get that, and you know me, I'm just a complete obsessed Disney guy. Excuse me, but I just really like having that on. I'll do the, like you were saying, the Polynesian one's good. The Frontierland one I really like.
Yeah.
And a lot of them remind me, and I've mentioned all the time that I'm a marathon runner. I already mentioned it on the show. But a lot of them remind me of running the races, because a lot of times when you're in the parks and those loops are playing, you can't hear them as well because of the crowd. But when you're in a Disney race and you're running through and there's not a whole lot of people, that music is loud. You can really hear it. So it reminds me of that a little bit.
That's what they play during the races?
Yeah, it depends. If you're in the parks, like when you're going through Magic Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you're on the road, it's a lot of, whatever the popular music is that at that time, that's what you'll hear.
8 Mile, a lot of Eminem, and
they don't do a whole lot of Eminem.
No, they don't do that.
You know what they did? One song, and I know every Disney Run Disney race participant that's listening to this right now, they probably know what I want to. There's 2 songs that were really popular a couple years ago, and I still hear them at the races. One is the Teo Cruz or Ty. I don't know how to say his name, but he has that song. I throw my hands up in the air sometimes. You know that song? They don't talk about it.
Nah, man. I'm a rocker, dude, through and through. I give you my best. AC/DC, Led Zepp.
Oh, I got it.
Van Halen, not Van Hagar.
I'm gonna have to put the clip in because, God, I'm giving myself more stuff to edit here. Come on. But it's a really good song. And the other one was "This Girl Is on Fire." I don't know if it's like a Katy Perry song. I don't know what it was, but they're the ones that you hear when you're not in the parks. But when you're in the parks, it's.
Oh, that's that Metallica song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard that one.
Yeah, you got that one.
Yeah.
But when you're in the parks, it's the music loops that are cranked up, and it's cool. Except when I did the Star Wars race last year, we ran through Epcot, and it was all Star Wars music, like blasting, which was kind of out of place, but still pretty cool.
That'd probably be. I'm not a runner, but I gotta imagine that would be kind of cool to run too.
Yeah, and then all the lights are blinking like lightsaber colors, so. When it's like you're running through France and it's like the Imperial March and the Darth Vader song, everything's blinking, red, black, off and on. Oh, wow. So it kind of gives you that, that Star Warsy feeling. It's pretty cool.
That's neat.
So yeah, so I really like that one. I'm just like you. I did the same thing and I listen to those loops all the time. All right. So on to my first one. And this might be kind of a predictable one, but I'm going to put a little bit of a spin on it. What we like to do in my house is watch Disney movies to get ready. And it really gets you in the mood for your trip. It's a nice distraction for the kids while you're packing your suitcases or doing laundry. You can just be like, hey, today's a Disney movie marathon to get you ready for your trip. Here's, Snow White or Peter Pan. Like, I like to do the ones so the kids are familiar with the characters right before we go. So, like I said, Peter Pan. So when they ride Peter Pan's flight in Magic Kingdom, they'll have a connection there. Snow White. So when they ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, same thing. But I also like to do the ones that the kids might not know about that have park presences, right? So, like, my kids know nothing about the Swiss Family Treehouse, but we watch Swiss Family Robinson before we go, and when they walk through there, it's kind of like, whoa, like light bulb moment. They recognize it from the movie, and it's really all of a sudden it's really cool. It's much cooler. Same with Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I was gonna try to say this and squeeze this in there, but it's ridiculous. I was gonna say, and Country Bear Jamboree with the Country Bears movie, but. Honestly, no one's ever seen that movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie.
Have you seen it?
No, I've not. Have you?
I haven't. I know of it. I've never seen it though.
No, I've seen. It's been on cable and I've been putting through the channels, and I have it on for 1 second, and I see the bear, and you're just like, I can't do it, man. I just can't. I can't. Like, it was like the Haunted Mansion movie with Eddie Murphy. I just couldn't sit through it.
I wasn't too terribly turned off by that because I don't know. I tried not to think that they were going to go too close to the attraction and just try to think of it as another film. But, there were some things I thought were kind of interesting that they did, but I'm probably one of a very, very small group of people who said that they can tolerate that movie.
Are you also one of the small group of people that can tolerate the Steve Guttenberg Tower movie?
I knew you were going to say that one. I haven't seen that one, unfortunately.
I haven't either. They're making a new. They're making a new Tower of Terror movie? Did I read that? Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I'm still like waiting for the Jungle Cruise movie to come out.
I know it was supposed to be like The Rock and the Jungle Cruise movie. I'm all about that. I love The Rock.
They've been talking about that for years.
Yeah, same thing with the new Haunted Mansion movie that Guillermo del Toro was supposed to direct, and haven't seen anything about that. I would see both of those movies like in a minute.
When are they going to come out with the It's a Small World movie? Like that's the one I want to see.
If they come alive and just start murdering children. I don't know what you can do with that movie.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I would like to see like a documentary or even like a kind of a mini series about the creation of the 64, 65 World's Fair stuff. Because
aren't there some old old archival things about it out there that are probably super hard to get a hold of?
I don't know. I've never, if there is, I mean, I've seen little clips, on the Disney Parks blog once in a while to put something up, but.
Dude, there is so much content in their vault, their quote unquote vault, that I wish they would just say, you know what, we need to just get this out to the people.
Yeah, I agree. Remember Vault Disney, the show? Remember that?
Yeah.
I used to love that. It was on like Sunday nights, like late night on, I think it was AMC. I would sit and watch whatever they put on. Any old movie, any old special with Walt Disney in it. I love that stuff.
I just went to the library with my kids the other day and rented an old Disney nature. That's the new thing. Whatever predated Disney nature.
Yeah, Disney. Now how can we not remember? That's terrible.
Yeah, it was Roy E. Disney was narrating it, and it was. I mean, I'd never heard of it, but it was out there like a super old DVD that was in the library. There's just so much stuff I wish they gathered. That's such a cool tip though, because you're right. There's so much out there that you can get. I've got to imagine that if you're a child who just bumped into one of the attractions or the characters, you'd think it'd be cool, but to have that backstory kind of fresh in your mind, got to imagine that really enhances the experience.
Thanks, man. Again, there's no off button to the genius switch over here, so that's kind of how I roll.
Can I borrow that from
Absolutely.
you? That's really funny.
That's not mine. That's a Dave Letterman line. I didn't make that up. I use it when I'm just going for a cheap laugh. Really, that's all that's about.
It's funnier when you say it. If I thought of David Letterman saying, I wouldn't think of it as funny.
Yeah, I'm
don't take that the wrong way.
No, I'm definitely funnier than David Letterman was. Whereas, anyway, all right, man, you're up for your next one.
All right, this is definitely something that's very high on my priority list when it comes to getting ready for a Disney vacation. It was. But it's definitely something that I recommend highly to my friends who are planning trips. I'll tell them to take a little bit of time and study the menus at the restaurants where my buddy Phil has booked the reservations for. Because, I'm sending all my friends your way when they want to plan their trips. And when you're booking their dining reservations, I say it's important because it kind of not only helps them to kind of think ahead about what they want to order, so I have to sit there for a while and kind of, chew on the menu, pardon the pun.
And hold up my table that I'm waiting for.
And hold up your table. But I think it also kind of helps you to really understand the story. Because I do think that there is more to what's going on for most of these restaurants than just saying, hey, let's put together a bunch of different food options for the guests. They're trying to tell a story there. So like a perfect example is Be Our Guest. That the planning that has gone into that restaurant in terms of trying to create that experience, not only visually with respect to the 3 rooms where you can sit, but also the menu as well. This is supposed to be a French inspired menu where they brought in, French chefs to kind of create the menu, also to create, the pairings for the beer and wine and the dinner service. So there's a lot there. And I think you can really kind of think about that experience a little bit ahead of time and really appreciate what they've done there so that when you go to actually be in the restaurant and sit down for dinner or for whatever meal, you've already kind of put yourself in that mindset. All right, this is the experience I'm going to be getting. And you can, I think, possibly enjoy it a little bit more by doing it that way. So do a little bit of advanced prep before you go on the meals that you're getting ready to enjoy.
Dude, that's a good one. And I think anyone who is having a Disney travel agent plan their trip should think about that. It's a really good point because...
Wait, are there more? I thought you were the only one. There's
you're
no
right.
other Disney travel agents.
That's a good point. It's only me. And I don't know. I was going to try to make a joke.
Just you.
Nothing came to me, so forget it.
Yeah. That's because there's no others.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, that's a great point because listen, you and Amy, my wife, are, as far as that goes, she would love that because she starts looking at menus for restaurants that we're going to go to like 3 days in advance. And I don't mean Disney restaurants. I mean, if we're going to like Applebee's, she's like, well, we're going to Applebee's in 3 days. I better take a look at the menu. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I get in there. I'm like, all right, what kind of burgers do you have? Okay, that one has bacon on it. Yeah, I'll get that one. She's not like that. She loves to kind of experience and think about what she's getting. And yeah, so she loves to do that stuff. So someone who, if you're going to Disney, you put all this time into it, you put all this thought into it. You're right. Think about the restaurants. And then so many restaurants, everything in Disney has a story and tells a story, right? So many restaurants in the parks are just extensions of the story from where you just walked, off the street from. So Tony's Town Square is basically the restaurant from Lady and the Tramp. I mean, they have Lady and the Tramp, paw prints, and there's things that you can see. And like you said,
like Liberty Tree Tavern. I mean, that's a beautiful example of trying to create the theming of the
right.
Where they are, where the guests are in Liberty Square. And dude, you want to hear it crazy? Like, let me tell you, I think I can probably take Amy out big time with this little nugget. I used to keep a spreadsheet, like a master spreadsheet of everywhere that we ate. And when I was there on vacation, I would open up that spreadsheet and I would take notes about what I ate at that day at whatever restaurant I ate at. And so it would be like, ate at Liberty Tree Tavern for lunch, got the turkey, and it was great. Got the ooey gooey toffee cake for dessert. Definitely get that again. Like, I had notes, like I had a little dossier of all the food I ate. And, and I think about that and I wonder, what? Hey man, how did you get to be such a engorged individual? Well, that's how you do it, man. So that's I think, that's a mark of somebody who really cares about the experience. And I love to talk to people about their experiences at the restaurants because I think it is more than just going there and stuffing your gullet and filling your belly. There's definitely a story and experience to be had there.
Yeah, man, that's a really good one. Now I'm laughing because he said stuffing your gullet. Sorry, it just sounded funny. Yeah, you're right, and it is a good way to do it too. Even if you were to prepare with your kids, because you have kids. You get to a restaurant, you give them the menu, and they're like, "I don't want any of this." You're like, "Well, what do you mean you don't want any of this? Like, we don't have anything else. It's where we are." So it's nice to know going in what they will and won't eat at each place. I mean, I think my kids are picky eaters, so I know that there's lots of times where I literally have done this. I have not been prepared, sat down at a Disney restaurant. They won't eat anything. And I'm running to, the closest place that has macaroni and cheese and getting them 3 macaroni and cheeses to go so we can eat them at the other restaurant. It happens.
Just shoving them in your cargo pants pocket.
Just put like getting handfuls of it and dropping them on the table when I get back. All right, it's funny. I want to go with my next one. I want to go kind of. It's kind of related. So you were talking about eating a lot, and one thing that you also will do a lot of on a Disney trip is walking. A lot. Like the average person on a Disney trip walks, I think it was like 6 to 12 miles per day. And I know that's a big gap, 6 and 12, but that's a lot of walking. There's nothing worse than being sore or in pain or injuring yourself on a vacation. It's the worst thing ever. I should know I'm sick or injured every vacation I take. So I know of what I speak. Before you go to prepare for your trip, exercise. I'm not saying you have to be ready to run a half marathon or a marathon, but get some miles in, either inside on the treadmill or if the weather, permits, outside, or go to a track somewhere. Just walk. And you don't have to walk 20 miles a day, but be ready and know what you're going to be putting your body through, because it's a lot of walking for your kids too. Get your kids out, get your kids walking around, because if they're not going to be in strollers, they're going to be beat at the end of the day, and they're going to be miserable, and they're going to throw tantrums, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So I think it's super important in order to prepare for your trip to walk. Get some exercise, make it a daily thing, make it or every other day, and do it in the month or 2 months before your trip, just to prepare, because you're going to be miserable if you don't. If you're not used to that kind of walking, you're going to be a grouch, and no one wants to vacation with a grouch.
I love that one, man. To prove how much I love that, it was on my list. So that was the first steal.
I'm sorry, man.
No, don't apologize, because it's a great one. And it's so funny that you mentioned it, because I was just talking this evening before we were recording with one of my neighbors. He works at Disney Springs, and he was telling me how he only goes to the parks maybe once every few months with his family. But when he goes, they usually like to go all day. And so I was saying, so how does that go for you? And I kind of knew what the answer was. This guy he's in his mid 40s, super fit, always walks around with his shirt off. And I always call him Justin Bieber, because I can't seem to find his shirt. And so he's ripped. Like the dude is working out all the time. He's always running and biking. And so he's in great shape, physical shape. But here's what he said. He said, dude, after a day walking through the parks, I am smoked. Like, I can't do anything the next day, because it's, he doesn't do a lot of walking in theme parks. Walking in a theme park is a different kind of exercise than you can be used to. I mean, you could be a marathon runner, somebody who runs maybe 5 miles a day, 5 days a week, whatever, who can run a marathon. But then if you said, all right, today we're going to put you in a boxing ring, you're going to do 10 rounds. Oh man, you're going to get really hosed by doing it, because it's a totally different exercise and experience and rhythm and different muscles and all that kind of good stuff. So let me can I tag on to yours just like a quick 2 little tips that I were going to put as tips on mine if I were to have gotten that one. Number 1 are the shoes. So people think, hey, I'm going to go out and buy some brand new Nikes before I go out there.
And you just stole one of mine.
Shoot. I'm sorry, dude.
No. It's funny, because I broke it up because I thought it was 2 different things.
Oh,
it's so funny that you
dude.
said, no, go ahead, take it.
That's a buzzkill, man. Sorry.
No, you're right, because that was actually going to be my next one. But go right ahead, because I was going to say the same thing.
Well, look, we'll edit. Well, here's the thing. I'm one of these crazy fools who says, don't go out and buy Nikes or Reeboks or like any kind of athletic shoe. Go ahead and buy Toms or like Zero shoes or something that has a flat sole, because it sounds super counterintuitive, but all those like crazy, airbags and all kinds of funkiness that can go on with these tennis shoes, they're actually not good for your feet. And I'm speaking from experience. I go to the parks probably 5 days a week, and I'll walk the parks with my kids, and I log a lot of miles. It's shocking that I am as ample as I am, even though I do log as many miles. Many of them are with a child on my shoulders, so like a Sherpa. And I've
seen it. You are. You're like Luke carrying Yoda around in Empire Strikes Back.
And I got a backpack filled with bottles of water and rocks and whatever else they want to carry. But dude, I'm telling you, I never have a problem with my feet. I wear the Tom shoes, so the super flat soles, and I never complain. Never, ever, ever had a problem. The second thing is just kind of taking care of yourself after the day of walking around. And one of the things I learned was if you lay on your back and put your feet up the wall, and maybe put like a pillow or something underneath your lower back, so it kind of elevates your lower back. Because you're standing all day and you're walking all day and you may not be used to it, and that blood just kind of hangs out in your feet. You're kind of forcing yourself to recirculate, putting your feet up the wall for like 10 minutes or so, and you'll feel like $1 million afterwards.
What I use for after like long walks and runs is this stick. It's like this horrible machine that you use to massage your own legs. And I know a lot of runners use it. It's like a foam roller, but it's like double the intensity, and it hurts like, it hurts so bad. But after
sounds like, did you ever see that movie Remo Williams?
No.
You look that one up. It's like something Chun would do to Remo Williams. It's this crazy hardcore martial arts movie from the 80s. And it was just like this little guru guy, little Asian guru guy with this white guy who's learning karate. And he just beat him with a stick. And I was thinking that's what you were doing.
No, it's almost what it is. It's like you massage like your thighs, and it's not a massage. Massage sounds enjoyable. This isn't. It hurts really badly, but you get every part of your legs. I do it after long runs or long walks, and then it gets the blood flow, back, and it's supposed to help recovery. I don't know if
I can
it does.
tell you're not like an affiliate or a sponsor.
Yeah, because I'm like,
you're not getting sponsored. You're doing the worst sales pitch ever for this product. I'm definitely not going to Amazon looking for it. Yeah, this is great. It hurts.
Oh, it hurts so bad, but it works. Like
it's like putting my finger in the electric socket. Oh, it's hurt.
But you're excited for the rest of the day. You got a big smile on your face. No, I've done it. I've done it with. I did it goofy without using it, and then I did dopey last year with, after using it, after the 5K, 10K, half, and then a full, and my recovery time was so much shorter, but it doesn't make it stink any less when you're doing it. It's a painful thing, but it's supposed to like move the blood around a lot faster, and it works, but it just hurts a lot. Excuse me, a lot.
It sounds atrocious. So I don't want to beat myself with a stick.
All right. So I know I'm weird. It's a weird thing.
That's what you do in your front porch, so you don't want your neighbors to mess with you. Like, oh man, that dude's crazy. He stands on the porch and beats himself. He mows the lawn wearing a Viking helmet. Like,
you don't hate yourself with it. It rolls. It rolls. It's like on. Anyway, it's got like these spinning things on it. And you roll it over your muscles, and you cry a lot while you're doing it.
It's got these spikes all over it.
It's not.
You light them on fire so that.
Dude, but to be honest with you, I sincerely, truly deserve my Le Fin du Monde after the marathon, after using the stick on Saturday and Sunday. Definitely.
They're back, man.
I know.
They're
I'm so
flowing
excited
again. They were gone for a little while, but they're back.
I know. They knew I was coming back for marathon weekend, and they brought it back.
When I asked about them, the cast member, I got the impression when I asked the cast member, hey, where are the Le Fin du Mondes? You're not selling those anymore. I had a feeling that she answered that question about 100 times already that day.
Yeah.
Like, that's a popular beer to get in Canada.
She's like, are you Phil from Ear to Their Travel and Ear to Their Podcast?
Are you one of his minions?
He's been complaining a lot online. I've heard it. He mentions it every other podcast, and it's not there. All right, man. I think you're up, right, for your next one?
Yeah. So one thing that I think is really important that I used to do all the time was to go online to either the Disney website or wherever you like to hang out and look at some of the stuff that's relevant to Disney, and try to pick one activity that I'd never done before. So that could be like a restaurant to visit and have a meal, or an attraction, or a show, or even just a resort to go and explore. So that, if you're somebody who's been to Walt Disney World a handful of times, you might have your go-to things, whether, there might be the attractions and the shows, things like that, restaurants. Try to mix it up, because I found that when I was planning a vacation and I knew that there was something new to discover or to experience, that to me was really exciting, in addition to everything else that I was excited about. So, for example, if you're a person who says, I only like to go to Be Our Guest, I don't know, I keep choosing that one and beating up on it, for dinner. Try it for lunch, try it for breakfast, and see what it's like from a different service perspective. Or try a different entree if you just have to go there at dinner every time. That, I think, it makes it interesting to see just a different thing that you're going to go to. Now, I know there are going to be some things that people say, I have to get, fill in the blank, a hot dog at Casey's. That's great. That's cool. Definitely do that. I'm not saying don't have a routine of things that you like to do over and over again. But I think there is something to be said about finding and really seeking out opportunities to do something different every now and then, on your trip. So it maybe doesn't have to be something every day, but maybe one or two things throughout the trip that you say, I'm going to consciously try to find something I've never done, and I'm going to give it a shot.
Dude, I love this one because this is what my wife and my kids, we do this every trip. We pick a place where we haven't eaten and make sure we either make reservations if it's table service or we make sure we get there if it's counter service. I mean, believe it or not, there are places still where I haven't eaten in Walt Disney World. Most of them are the newer places that I couldn't get to in the last, 5 or 6 years since we've had kids, because I was like, well, the kids aren't going to like that. They're not going to be interested in that. So we didn't do it. But yeah, that I really liked that idea. And I thought you were going to say, okay, I really need to go see the Lumberjack show at Canada. So we need to make sure we do that this trip. Seriously, that was the shortest lived show ever. That and Stitch's Supersonic Celebration had to be like two of the shortest shows ever. But no, I love that idea because that's one that we do. And we've had some great meals at some great places just because of that. Like, we stayed at the Contemporary at Bay Lake Tower, and I honestly never thought about going to the Wave. I was like, I don't know. There's so many other good places to eat at the Contemporary or at Magic Kingdom or the Polynesian that are really easy to get to. But on our last trip that we stayed there, we made reservations for the Wave, and I was like, whatever. And it was great. It was a great meal. And I never would have tried it if we weren't like, okay, we have to do a dinner somewhere new. So great pick. I really like that one, man.
Man, maybe we should do another episode if you'll have me back. Where we do
you
like
are the
that.
second. You're the second host of the podcast. We don't. Like I'm going to see you this week. I'm going to be like, dude, we got to record here, and here.
That would be. But that would be a good topic for us to kind of dig into. It's like our top 5 picks, each of us, of those kind of under the radar spots.
Yeah,
like the Wave.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Wave is I really think, and the Wave has its big fans. It's like devotees or how do you say that? Devotee? How do you say that?
I don't know, man. I'm a hillbilly, son of the soil. I'm not into all that fancy pants stuff.
They have their fans. The Wave has its fans. So, no, man, I'm in. You just saved me another week of trying to come up with a topic. Perfect.
Right on.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I like that one, man. Cool, man. All right, so for my next one, this one is one that I think goes a long way for kind of making a cast member have showing them your appreciation of what they do, right? And it's make thank you cards for cast members that you can hand out when you feel like they've done something to borrow a Disney term, where they've gone above and beyond. Disney uses that all the time. And lots of times they'll get noticed for things like that by their managers, by the higher ups, by their leads in Walt Disney World. But a lot of times people won't see the really cool things they do for you. And like my wife and my kids and I on the last couple of trips have made just little kind of smaller than an index card size things that we can get templates for them online. Just Google it. Google cast member thank you cards, and there's you don't even have to be creative. But what we did is we made one that had the partner statue, Walt and Mickey holding hands from in front of the Cinderella Castle. And we wrote, thank you for making extra magic for us today. And then we had a little spot for their name and a little spot for my kids to sign it. And only our one child actually can write. They can all write, but only one can spell and read. So she signs her name, and then we sign the other kids' names. And whenever a cast member does something really super nice, or goes out of their way, or just is overly friendly, or doing a better job than like mailing it in, we give it to them, and we bring a whole bunch of them with us, and it really makes their day. They really get excited. And listen, as a former cast member, I know while it's a really fun and it's an exciting place to work, it's also stressful. I mean, you have to leave your baggage backstage. You can't bring it on stage with you. It's not always easy. cast members have bad days all the time, and they're supposed to be, they're the thing that makes the parks run or the resorts run. So it's nice to kind of go the extra mile and let them know that they made your day that day. It's pretty cool. So I'd like doing that one.
That's a really good tip. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody do that before, because normally when I give somebody a recommendation to do that, I'll say, go to guest services. And my move is I'll take a picture, and of course I ask them and I'll show them the picture. I'm like, I'm just taking a picture of your name tag. I'm not doing anything crazy here. And because I want to then either go straight to guest services and tell them, how I got just a fantastic experience with this cast member, or I'll email them. And if I just don't have the time to stop by because the kids are screaming or whatever, and just send an email to guest relations and tell them about that cast member and send the picture. It goes such a long way, and I've made friends with a bunch of cast members. I just am truly amazed at these people, and I'm not trying to sound insincere or just say this for this podcast. It's true. I mean, there are so many people who really bust their humps and go out there even when they're not feeling 100% for whatever reason, with life getting them down or health wise or whatever. And they put on that show as soon as they go on stage, and they realize that, hey, I'm here and I'm going to be a part of a really amazing experience for a bunch of families who are here and people who are here enjoying this place. And to tell yourself that and to operate that way is really remarkable to me. So I think that's just such a cool thing. And I know that they really appreciate stuff like that and the recognition by, because, I don't know how all the inner workings. You can probably answer this better than I can. Well, I know you could. When a guest does sing the praises of a cast member to guest relations or to an area manager or anything like that, it does make a huge difference in how they're treated and how they might get a bonus or whatever, things like that. At least that's what I've been told. So yeah, it only takes a few seconds to do something like that. And plus, I think there's a lot of benefit personally to going out of your way to tell someone that they did something nice for you and to show your gratitude and your appreciation. I think that there's a lot of good that comes out of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one thing that I always thought of when I was a cast member was, if I was having a bad day and I came to work that day, I always thought, all right, listen, I'm having a really bad day and I'm not happy and I'm upset. But when I go out on stage, this guest is having their best day. And I'm not going to ruin it because I'm, of my stuff that's happening at home, or my phone call that I got, or that I'm arguing with another cast member backstage. I'm not going to bring their best day down today because of my, lousy mood. So that's how I always thought about it. Like, these people are so excited. They're so happy. They're here. It's a lifelong dream for so many people that come in through the gates of, Magic Kingdom. So I'm not going to affect that in a negative way. And I think most cast members have that mentality. Some don't, of course. It's still a workplace. It's still a job. But I just like to recognize and kind of give a little boost to the people that do it the right way.
You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Thanks, man. All right, so that was mine. Yeah, that was mine. All right, so you're up for your, what is this, number 3 for
this
you?
Is
number 4?
Number 4 for me.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. All right.
This is an interesting one, and this is one that is obviously for the folks who have already taken vacations at Walt Disney World, and these are repeat visitors. My big thing was to spend a few minutes here and there, 5-10 minutes, whenever you need a mental break, and go through some of your old pictures that you took on your previous Walt Disney World vacations. And the reason I like to do this was because it gave you a chance to see things from a different perspective than what your memory could able to help you provide. So, like, for example, if you stayed, let's pretend for a second, you on a previous vacation, you stayed at the boardwalk and you're going back there again. And you took a bunch of pictures when you were there the last time. By looking through some of the pictures, you'll remember some of the sights and some of the things that you remember seeing from the room that you were in, to the lobby, to the grounds and all the shops and the restaurants and things like that. And when you see those pictures, you start to piece together those memories a little better. And I think it helps you to kind of get really psyched up for what you're going to experience and see again. So for me, I take as many pictures as I can still when I'm cruising through the parks, because I can't trust my memory to be able to piece all that stuff together and keep it intact. So when I tell friends to do that, or when they're on their way, I'll say, just go nuts. You got these cameras that can take a gazillion pictures now, and your phones can too. Go nuts. Take a whole lot of pictures, because it really is going to help you when you look back to remember these things. And also, it'll really help you to get excited about your next trip when you start to get ready.
Yeah, so this is another one that reminds me of Amy, my wife, because we do that all the time. She, the last couple of days, has been giving her cell phone to all three of our kids. And it's so funny watching them now, because even our 4-year-olds, the way they kind of scroll through pictures on the phone, it blows me away, like how proficient they are with a cell phone. Like they're just, my daughter Zoe just looks and she's like, okay, she's like, me and Mickey, scroll. Me and Donald, scroll. Castle, scroll. And she's
Pinch
like,
and zoom.
Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, she does all that stuff. And I'm like, man, at 4, I was like playing with a drum set, like walking around the house with like a bucket on my head, and here are these kids that know how to use an iPhone. It blows me away. But
when I was 4, man, I was eating leaded paint chips. And wait a second.
It's a Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips as a kid?
I forgot that was in there. That's a great movie.
That's a great line. I love that movie. Fat guy in a little coat. I love it. Yeah, I mean, she's been giving her phone to our kids, or I've been on Facebook with my kids, and I know how to cycle through all the old pictures, and it's really getting them super excited about our trip. So, dude, I couldn't agree more. That's a great one, and I wouldn't have thought actually to bring it up, but we've been doing it so often that, of course, it's perfect. That's exactly, we've been doing it every day with our kids. So, yeah, good call, man. That's a good one.
There you go, man. So if I see a crazy tweet from you, I realize, oh, wait, that's probably from one of the kids.
Oh, dude, you know how many times it's happening on Facebook, and I had to, like, delete it right away? It'll be like XLR7345Y exclamation point.
It's like, ooh, he's putting out his password.
Like, what is... Somebody copy that really fast. Yeah, that would be Zoe to mess around on the phone. Because she's 4 and she's smart, but she can't spell. So she's not composing tweets or Facebook status updates yet. All right, so I have a couple more. But I want to go with this one. I think I have 3 more, so I'll make one my honorable mention, unless of course you steal one for your 5th. But this one is one that I found really helpful. The first time I ever did this was out at D23, the D23 convention out in Disneyland a couple years ago. I guess a year and a half ago. I bought an external phone charger for my iPhone. I knew that the whole convention I'd be taking pictures and tweeting and Facebooking and Instagramming and all that stuff. So I bought the charger thinking, I don't know, I'll use this once a day, or I used it 3 times a day because I just was going nuts with my phone. I brought my good camera. I ended up not even really using it because, you have the cell phone. It's a nice, like you were saying, you could fit thousands of pictures on it. You just keep clicking away. And in the parks, I found that you use your cell phone for so much. I mean, you're taking pictures. You're on the My Disney Experience app. You're texting. You're sending photos to your family, to your friends, to your parents. Your phone's battery is going to die fast, like really fast. Because plus the Wi-Fi in Disney, and Walt Disney World especially, is lousy in the parks. There's so many people using that Wi-Fi. Half the time you're not going to get on, and you're going to have to use your data, which just destroys your battery. So I bought, it's called a Mophie charger. It's about, it's I don't know, an inch thick, maybe a little less than that. About the size of a credit card. I keep it in my pocket until I need it. And I will charge my phone like 3 times in a day. I'll wait till it gets down to 15%, charge it, you just plug it in, and you can still use your phone while it's charging. So I get like 3 or 4 full charges out of this thing, and I'll never have a dead phone in the park. I charge my phone all day. It's really worth the price because, I know Disney put in some of the charging stations around the parks and in the restaurants, but if you really want to stand there and wait for your phone to charge, I think it's a very, very worthwhile investment. And they're not that expensive now. I think the one I bought was like $120, but that was like a good one. They have ones that are way better than that too. But you can get one for like $40, $50, $60 that'll give you a charge or two in the park. So for me, that's a very, very worthwhile investment.
I see a lot of people now rolling around with those things, and I understand why. 'Cause I think what you just said makes a whole lot of sense. Because if you're somebody who's very active on social media and wants to post the pictures you're taking of your vacation, you're right. The Wi-Fi there sometimes is a little spotty, so you do end up going with your data. So it does suck up a lot of battery. You're 100% right on that. So it is good. And it's funny about I was laughing about the charging stations when you're mentioning that. They're kind of, I don't know if they really go crazy about showing where they are. You kind of find little outlets here and there. I would be that jerk who would say, all right, yeah, we'll give them charging stations. We're going to post them next to the bathrooms and the trash cans. Keep them moving, Yeah. They don't want them sitting there all day because you can only stand sitting next to a trash can so long. But no, yeah, they're out there, but I wouldn't make that your strategy just to say, I'll just find a charging station somewhere and just hunker down. Because I normally see people hunker down at every one of them where there is an outlet to plug in. So those are good. I know that they also have a service in the parks. I'd never use it. I've seen people use it. It's like a little, battery stick you get, and I think you pay like $30 or something like that for the license, for an access card, and then you can just dump the old one and get a new one when you want to get a new one. Don't quote me on that because I've never used it, and I don't know what even the name of the service is and where in the parks you get it. So that is an option, but that's a great tip because I do. If you're somebody who is cruising through the parks a better part of the day, and you are using it a lot, even just talking on the phone, you might find yourself in a pretty bad spot with no battery.
Wait, phones make phone calls? I don't use mine for that.
Yeah, talking to people?
Yeah, no way.
That's so 1980.
There's a great line. The comedian Aziz Ansari? Ansari, however you say it.
Yeah.
He talks about how mad he gets when he gets a phone call, and he's like, it's ridiculous. He's like, you ever get a phone call and you answer, and you're like, hello, and he's like, the person starts talking, and he's like, is your house on fire? No? Well, then text me that. And it just makes me laugh so hard because it's so true. Like, how often are you, I don't know, like driving in a car and the phone will ring and you're looking, you're like, no, I'm not answering that. It happens all the time. Like, it happens to me constantly. Where I'm like,
I'm the anti that though, because I got fat fingers, man. And texting's a challenge, man. I just rather just pick up the phone and
that's the thing too, is my wife, this is a tangent again, but she all the time, I'll be out and she knows I'm in my car and she'll text me. And I'm like, I can't text you back. I'm driving. So
she's looking to hammer that life insurance check is what she's looking at.
Yeah, right. So I'll call her and I'm like, I can't text you back. And she's like, oh, I meant to tell you that you have to get this while you're out. Well, just text, just call me and let me know. Excuse me. It drives me crazy. All right.
So wait, when you go out on your errands, does she say, well, which route are you taking? You going around Dead Man's Curve?
Oh,
how long is it taking you to get there?
No, she's the one. And I know that she doesn't listen to every episode, so I feel like I can get away with some of these.
Oh, you're rolling the dice, man.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And then some of her friends and family actually listen to it, so we'll see if this gets back to her. But do you have this thing? And this is going to sound very chauvinistic, so I apologize in advance. But when you're out, I'll be at the grocery store and my phone will ring. I'm like, hello. And then it'll be my wife and she'll say, where are you? I'm like, where you sent me? I'm at the grocery store. What do you mean? And she's like, did you get this yet? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, and then I come home and then I end up having to take half the stuff back because I got the wrong things. That happens to me all the time. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, that kind of happens to me, but a couple of things that I do differently. I never answer the phone hello. I always say something crazy just to throw the person off guard. And then, so, you know, it might be like, I get the phone call, ring, 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 brisket for life. But then if I get the, hey, where are you? It's never where I'm at. It's like, I'm on an overpass doing graffiti right now.
That's actually a good tip.
Yeah. So it's all about like throwing people off guard. And I think that's the spice of life. Because when people do it to me, it's a beautiful thing because it takes me out of, it always happens to me, thankfully, when I'm kind of bummed out or whatever. So maybe that's our life tip. Forget planning Disney vacations. Let's dish out life tips here.
Yeah, start giving advice for everyday, for marriage advice. You know, that's funny.
What are you doing right now? Getting the baby his first tattoo.
All right, we're off on another tangent. This doesn't even make any sense anymore. You're up, I think. Is this your last one?
This is my last one.
Right,
my
so
fifth one.
You got to make it count.
So, well, this one is a continuation of my fourth one, which was to review photos from prior trips. So this one, what I said was, I think it's important to get your camera rig ready and make sure you practice and you're proficient with what you're going to be using. So, you know, if it's your smartphone, not a big deal, but go out and practice taking some outside shots if you're not used to doing that. If you're only taking selfies with your smartphone when you're in the driver's seat of your car, you know, that's what you're used to doing. But no, go outside and get used to working with the light and understanding how the shadows may affect how you're composing your pictures. Because, you know, that's one of the things that's kind of challenging with taking pictures of Walt Disney World is, yeah, there are going to be a number of spots where it's just pure sunlight, and that's very easy to take a beautiful picture with. But because of the trees and the buildings and everything that's around, you are going to find yourself at some point taking something that's going to be a mixed shot with pure sunlight and then some shadows. So get used to working with your camera and taking some pictures, because nothing worse than standing there and trying to fumble through the camera and trying to get the right shot you want, when you can just quickly, boom, you know how to set it up, you know where people should be standing, and you can do it quickly that way. Now, that's just like if you have your smartphone. But if you're somebody like you and I both have some nice DSLR cameras, so maybe one thing you can do is to treat yourself to a new piece of equipment, maybe a new lens or a new strap or hand gear or something that will make it easier for you to take really good pictures. And again, practice with that camera, because if it's not something that you use every day, you can have that beautiful DSLR camera just sitting in a bag for months at a time, and then you just hop on the plane or hop in your car and drive to Disney World. And then all of a sudden when you pull it out, you're not quite familiar with all the features that it has. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time on your vacation fumbling through your camera manual and trying to figure out how to get that shot composed the way you want to do, or how to work the camera features the way you think they should work. One thing that is interesting, I know a lot of places will have pretty reasonable photography classes that you can take. Like I remember taking one after I got my DSLR camera through my county where I was living at the time. And it was a really cheap class. It was like 3 or 4 lessons, and we got to just get down there and learn how to take really good pictures. That helped a lot. And another thing that's interesting is if you're somebody who does have a nice camera like that, and you don't want to go down the road of spending a couple grand on some new lenses, you can rent them. There's a couple places here there's one that's within spitting distance of Walt Disney World that you can rent some camera gear from, whether it be like the full bodies, and the lens packages, or some other the place I'm thinking about. And if you want to find it, just hit me up on Twitter or something at John Shortsleeve, and I'll tell you where it is. And they rent to amateur photographers like me. They rent to professionals who come into town for shoots. So they have the huge gamut of stuff you can rent if you rather go that way. It's a quick Uber ride from the parks to go check this place out. But that, I think, is something important, because that way your pictures that you take are going to be these amazing things that you want to hang on to help you remember all the things that you did make sure you're ready and to take really good pictures before you go.
Yeah, so two things that kind of stood out to me that I want to mention. One, with the DSLR cameras, the worst thing you can do is spend a ton of money on it and just shoot it in auto mode all the time. Because you should know a little bit about it. And I'm bare minimum, right? Like, I know how to turn it on the one setting, put it on one mode and adjust my, and get it to where I want it. If you have it on auto mode all the time, you're going to get lucky and get a good picture once in a while, but you're not going to get phenomenal, those pictures that you see as screensavers for people's phones. You're not going to get that. Screensaver, that's not right. Background, whatever. Wallpaper, lock screen. Yeah, that's more like it. Screensaver, man, I'm showing my age. You're not going to get those flying toasters that you would want. Remember the flying toasters? That was the weirdest thing. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is I heard this tip from somebody about shooting pictures in, I forget where I heard it, about shooting, with any kind of camera in Orlando, in Walt Disney World. And it's always have the sun at your back. If you can feel the sun at your back, your picture's going to turn out better. But if the sun is in front of you and you take a picture, you're going to get a lot of glare, you're going to get a lot of shadows. It's not going to look as good. So that's like a simple tip that I've heard. So I don't know. I forget where I heard that, but it's made sense to me. So I always use that tip when I'm in Florida taking pictures. Make sure, find the sun, angle yourself where you're not, in front of it, and it works a lot better.
Yeah, and there's some blogs out there where some folks who take some really amazing pictures just for fun, like some amateur people that are locals, who there's like little photo clubs down here where they get together and they take pictures in the parks and things like that. And it's an amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff that they do. But some of those blogs do have some tips in terms of specific places to get great pictures. If that's something that you're interested in trying, that could be a great thing. That was something that I always really try to spend time on, because I realized as soon as I get home, I want to have these great pictures to look at and to help me with, cherishing these memories that I made on the vacation. So it definitely is worth your time. And, if you're just somebody who has a smartphone, there's some cool little things now that you can get for your smartphones, that like little add-on lenses. If you want to have like a little telephoto lens that kind of bolts onto the back if you put a special case on it. So there's some cool, or like little mini tripods. I mean, these are expensive things you can get. A little mini tripod for your iPhone or your Android that you can just set on a table or something to take pictures so that you're steady. Like if you're taking a picture at night, that's a huge, you spend like $10 on something that'll make you take some really amazing pictures, like low light pictures with your smartphone.
Yeah, they have them, and then just use the timer, set the timer and walk away from it. So you don't have to, because still, if you touch the smartphone, you're still going to be moving it a little bit. So if you set the timer, put it on a tripod, it really works. And you can
you do that if you're somebody who's not cool with handing your phone off to somebody to take a picture. Because you don't want to hand it off to that guy with the shifty eyes. Like, is he going to give it back to me, or is he just going to pretend and then run?
I like National Lampoon's European Vacation. Remember that guy? Oh, yeah. When he made them take their shoes and socks off and roll up their pants and get in the fountain, and then he takes off with the camera.
Yeah, the move I do. I don't do this for strangers, but I do this for friends and family. If they ask me to take a picture, the first thing I do is I flip the camera around to a selfie mode. I take a picture of myself, and then I flip it back around and take the picture of them. So then when they go see what the picture was, they go, "Oh, great picture." But then when they go home and they unload, they go, "What? Johnny, what's he doing in there?"
That's funny. I thought of I forget what comedian it was, but he's like, "Do you ever have someone to take a picture of you when you hand them your camera, and they start looking at it like they've never seen a camera before, and they're like, where's the button?" He's like, "It's where it's been ever since cameras are invented. It's the shutter button on top." It's just really, I don't know, it just makes me laugh. All right, so I have two more. I know you had a couple. I want to do my last one. Then I have a quick honorable mention. All right. So my last one is going to sound weird, okay? You know me really well at this point. The average listener knows me. It's okay to get weird for a minute, right? I think it's okay.
Yeah, let's get weird.
Okay, so let's get weird for a minute. So this is something that not everyone's going to want to talk about, but I know for a fact that it's something that most people deal with. I'm sorry, on a trip to Walt Disney World, especially in the summer. Okay, it's super hot, it's humid, it's gross, and I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but your body parts, whether you're the dude who is 6 feet tall and weighs, 75 pounds, or if you're an average sized person, your body parts rub together and sweat, and it's terrible, and you chafe. Okay, chafing. I learned this well before I started running in races. I learned this just as a guest coming in the summer, and as a cast member working at Animal Kingdom when I was 19 years old. It's so hot. You sweat so much. When you chafe, it makes your day, it makes your vacation miserable. It's so uncomfortable. And I know from racing, I know from running, when I get, the worst thing is when I don't prepare for the chafing and I take a shower after a long run and the water hits the spots. Oh my God, it hurts so much. But here's how you fix it, okay? There's this stuff called Body Glide, and it's looks like a deodorant stick. It looks like any kind of deodorant, and you use it on the spots of your body that you know are going to chafe. And I know this is a strange thing to bring up on a podcast, but seriously,
yeah, man, this isn't podcast. This is like video material. You should put a YouTube tutorial on how to
show you how to put it on. But under your arms, like your thighs, places like that will really, really chafe badly, and it can get to the point where you're bleeding, and it's so uncomfortable. So, like I said, I use it. I don't use Body Glide though. Here's the funniest part: I was introduced to this other roll-on stuff called, and get ready because it's a funny name. It's called Butt Shield. Okay, this butt shield was invented for cyclists. And it's because you're sweating your, backside off, and you're sitting on this little bicycle seat for hours on end. If you're, a triathlete, if you're a cyclist, and you chafe and it hurts and you can't walk later, it stinks. So they invented this stuff called Butt Shield that you put on and you don't chafe. So I use that for running. I don't chafe now. I'm not uncomfortable. And when I come during the summer when it's hot, and I'm not even running in a race or I'm running a marathon, I use it because it works. And I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I'm not going to be miserable. I'm not going to have the most painful shower I've ever had in my life. So I know it's embarrassing. I know it's weird. Get yourself some Body Glide or Butt Shield. It works. That is my public service announcement of the podcast.
I had this great business idea after my first child was born, and I'm going to go ahead and say on the podcast, 'cause I just don't have the time to do it. So if somebody can do the world a service and hear this and create this business, go for it. I don't need any royalties or license. But I had this idea for this business. It was called StuffYouDon'tWantToBuyInPerson.com.
That's
and
good.
It would carry stuff like Butt Shield, I'm sure. Because it was things that, you could do the Walgreens run or the CVS run. I would do that for my wife after the baby was born.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a lot of things that if you're a dude buying this stuff, you're like, you're self-conscious. Because, the reality is the Walgreens clerk, the CVS clerk, they don't care. Like they don't judge, I'm sure. Maybe they do. I just pretend that they don't. And
just keep telling yourself that.
Just keep telling myself that. But I thought that would be a great business, and you wouldn't have the shame of buying Butt Shield or whatever that stuff's called. I've never heard of it. Yeah, but it sounds hilarious. I feel like I want to go to Walgreens tonight, like find the 24-hour one and go, hey, can someone point me to the Butt Shield aisle?
Well, it's the funniest name ever, but I did find that in when I wasn't even running a race, but I was getting, chafing and under my arms, especially like not even under my arms, just like at the edge. And it chafed so badly. And then you try to put the deodorant on the next day and you go through the roof. It hurts so badly. So that's kind of how I found out about it. And I did a little research. I wish the website had existed, the things you don't want to buy in person.com. I would have probably made a couple other purchases on there because the butt shield is something that I've never bought in person. I get it on Amazon. I never walked into a store and bought it, but I know they have it in, sporting goods stores and runner specialty stores. But it makes sense, a lot of sense for people and my wife used it when she was pregnant in the parks with the twins because, listen, you're pregnant. The last thing you want to do, and we were there in the summer, like, what a horrible, horrible person I was telling her, hey, let's take a Disney trip in June when you're 3 months pregnant with twins. You'll be all right. Like, I don't know how she didn't divorce me for suggesting that. She actually went. But anyway, butt shield, it works. Body Glide. If you don't want the butt shield, you can get the Body Glide. They both do the same thing. And you'll thank me, man. You don't chafe. You feel so much better. It's really a smart purchase.
I got nothing to add to that, but strategy. So if you are going in person to buy something like that, maybe the move is you got to buy a bunch of other stuff like Snickers bar, Listerine, couple of cans, old English 800, something that'll disguise, when you're walking in the line with your basket, you can bury it in the basket.
I think buying those things with the butt shield makes the butt shield seem a lot worse.
Yeah. There ought to be some kind of code for CVS employees. Like if they see like a nefarious collection of things like, yeah, this guy just, you have a button you push or whatever, call, he says, had a customer come in, he got some rags, some chloroform, and some zip ties. He's not up to anything good.
There should be, you need to do the nod to the person behind the counter for the Body Light or butt shield. It's like,
yeah.
There should be a hand signal.
It's like it's almost as bad as going to get in the jumbo pack of toilet paper and then an issue of Auto Trader. Like, you got your afternoon planned.
All right, but real quick, do you have any honorable mentions before we sign this one off?
So you have one? I'll do one.
Yeah.
I'll do one. It's an honorable mention, then I'll let you do yours. So my quick one is, this is really, I don't even know if I call it an honorable mention. It's just a mention. One thing that got me psyched about the trip was to lay out my clothes, and I did a spreadsheet, and yeah, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I did it to say, these are the clothes I'm going to wear. I set them out, set them aside, and to have that, the suitcase kind of partially packed, or just this, the clothes kind of separated in my closet. These are the clothes that I'm taking on vacation. To me, when I would see that I would do it a couple weeks ahead of time, and that made me realize, okay, we're right around the corner here. We're getting ready. We've rounded third base. We're getting ready to slide into home plate, and it's something that to me was a signal that vacation was right around the corner. So that, I think that's more of like an emotional thing. It helped me to really get pumped and jazzed about my trip.
Yeah, my wife was saying something about getting like plastic bags, and she saw this thing. I don't know. She watches like the HGTV or whatever. And getting like plastic bags that you can fit like kids' outfits in and labeling them for like each day. Like, so you have, before you go, you have the outfits, like, okay, like trip day one, trip, or trip day one or day two with a name on it. So then every day there's not like a fight. You just open a bag and here you go. And I don't know. That's what,
dude, that's like asking for the TSA people to totally mess with you. Like, let me screw up with their outfits. I'm going to change the shorts out when they're searching through the bag.
That's funny because I'm always the one that when I open my bag, when I get to the resort at Disney, I always have the thing inside my bag that's like, the TSA, open your bag. I went through it. I'm like, God, why is it always me?
Why do they need to tell you? Like, I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know that you were rifling through there. Because how many bags did they rifle through before they rifled through yours?
Yeah, that's
and
a good point.
They could have been rifling through one right before yours that had all the dirty laundry that somebody didn't clean, and it was all crusty and nasty. And then they go touching your clean clothes.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I just ruined that for everybody.
Now,
and
as soon as I get to my DVC room in a few days, I'll be doing all my laundry as soon as I get there.
Or we just killed the airline industry. Everyone's going to want to drive now.
I want to drive. Or
they're going to ship it via UPS.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Anyway,
that's another show.
My local UPS store, no joke, went in there the other day. It was just filled with suitcases.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And people they're traveling for the holidays. And they were shipping their luggage. It was because I asked them, I said, why are there all these suitcases? They said, there's a couple of families that are traveling overseas, and it's cheaper to send it via UPS than it is to do with the airlines.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure something out about that soon. The airlines. I mean, anyway. Don't get me started on the airlines. I fly Southwest. Thank God, right now the bags are still free, but who knows how long that'll last. All right, so my last one, my honorable mention. This one's probably an obvious one, but I just wanted to mention it anyway. Buy items before you go. Buy the expensive items that you don't want to buy in the parks or at resorts and bring them with you. Put them in your bag. Sunscreen is a big one. Although you can't carry it. Like if you get a big aerosol thing of like, we buy like the water babies for the kids. If you buy that, you can't put it in your carry-on. So, of course, the first day you get there, if you use Disney's Magical Express, your bags aren't there right away. You get to Disney, you have to buy sunscreen anyway. Charges you like $37 for a thing of sunscreen. But the way my kids and my wife and I use sunscreen, we go through it anyway. So sunscreen is one. Sunglasses for the kids or for yourself is another one. If you forget them, it's, especially in the summer, it's very, very super sunny in Orlando. You're going to need them. And you're going to spend a lot of money if you buy them in the parks. The water misting fans, I think, are another one that Disney charges a lot for. Ponchos, Disney charges an awful lot for. And you can go to a dollar store or Five Below and get ponchos. It's makes more sense. And the last one, this is a big one. Buy princess dresses for your daughters, your little girls, before you go. Go to Target. Go to Toys R Us. They're cheaper there. They look pretty identical. They're not the same exact ones that the kids get in the park, but they're really close. And, that's something where you'll save a lot of money, and you can use that money for something else when you're on your trip. So that's my honorable mention there.
Dude, that's awesome. And, edit this out and post. This is a great idea, man. Start like a thing on your Facebook page where like everybody can post links to places like that where they can buy it online or the stores they can buy that stuff. And, everyone that posts, you just send them and say, hey, thanks for posting this thread. What we'll do is we're doing special, we're the theme of saving money. I'm going to give you $250 off of my service pack, with the resort reservations, the dining, the fast passes, the personal itinerary, the Magical Express, the shopping service you do for everybody. Is $250 too much? I don't know what's the street rate these days
for the trip planning.
Yeah, for that whole package that you do.
Yeah, so believe it or not, it costs nothing. It never costs a cent.
Well, I know it costs you nothing, but what are you charging people for that these days?
Yeah, it's free of charge for me to book your trip. From the beginning to the end.
You don't charge people for that?
That's true.
The personalized itinerary, Wait, I'm missing something. I thought it was like $1,000.
I like that you keep mentioning the personalized itinerary. That's like one of my. I like that. I'm proud of that one. Because I like making those up for people. But yeah, there's no charge. There's no fee for, and never will be, and never has been a fee for any of my services at all.
Holy smokes. Goodness gracious, man. I'm blown away.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for mentioning it. And it's so funny. Like every time I don't want to toot my own horn and I don't want to come on too strong. So, or salesy. I'm not, me. So I appreciate you bringing that up. It is and always will be free. So I just like doing it. It's fun. And again, sure, I make money. I make money doing it. But as I think I said earlier in the show, my main goal really is for my client, for, if it's your first time, it's your 30th time, I don't know. I want you to have the trip that I have. So I'm a resource for you to use when you're before and during your trip. I mean, I always tell people, if you're walking around the Magic Kingdom or Epcot and you're all of a sudden you have to go to the bathroom, but you don't know where the closest restroom is, just text me and I'll tell you. I know. Trust me, I know where it is. And I'm not kidding about that. Or if you have, you're close to any, attraction, you want to know where the best place to go for lunch is, that's less than a 5-minute walk, I'll tell you. And I tell my clients all the time. And I have had people, literally text me and say, I need to know where the bathroom is. And I'll say, okay, turn around. Do you see this? Yeah? Okay, go there. That's where it is. And it helps, and it helps them. And anything I can do to help them, I really want to do. It's fun.
Look, man, I've sent a whole bunch of friends your way, and I'm blown away with what you do. And I love hearing that the experience that they're getting literally is what you just said. It's what you find to be enjoyable. It's something that you're passionate about. And that's such a cool thing to have somebody who's on your side to do this, because I'm going to be 100% honest. I've not done everything that there is to do at Walt Disney World. That's because there's just that much stuff to do. And when you start to think about that as something you want to take on as a family adventure, and the planning that has to go into that, if you're not familiar with all these things, that's a lot of work. So to do this right and to have someone on your side like you is a pretty cool thing to do. And it's something that I don't hesitate to refer my friends to. So thanks for doing what you do, man.
Thanks, man. And thank you for your referrals. And I think most, if not all, of the friends that you've referred to me so far have had fun. So that's my track record overall is pretty darn good. So I'm happy that's going well, at least.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So thanks again, man, for doing this. And these are fun. And I'm excited. A couple of days, we'll get to hang out and, talk Disney like a couple of Disney nerds in person. So it's going to be fun. Get the kids together, let them beat each other up for a little while. That'll be fun.
Tell everybody to watch out. We've got a couple of Disney heavyweights coming through.
Yeah, we got the short sleeves and the grandmas coming through.
Yeah, man.
Clear the way. We were coming.
Step aside. We're coming through.
All right. Well, thanks again, man, for doing this. And again, I always try to, let people know what you're up to and what you're doing. So where can people go to kind of figure out what Johnny Shortsleeve is up to these days?
Man, they know where to find me, but I'm going to tell you what, I want them to find something else that I haven't already pitched a million times already. I feel bad about keep pitching my own stuff. Let me tell you real quick. I know everyone hangs out on Facebook a lot. Next time you're hanging out on Facebook, I want you to hit the search bar for something for me. Check out something called Nathaniel's Hope. Nathaniel's Hope. It's a local organization here in Orlando that does a lot of really cool stuff. They have a story about how they got started. It's kind of a sad story with what happened with this family's child, but they're doing a lot of really cool stuff now in memory of their child. And I've got some friends who are very active with them and do a lot of cool events for the local community. Now, we talked last time about Give Kids the World. I think one of the things that people can consider is that, if you decide you're going to come to Orlando and Walt Disney World and hang out for a while and you want something different to do, there's a lot of really cool things like this, like Nathaniel's Hope, that can give you something to check out with some of the volunteer opportunities they have. Or, you know what, if that's not your thing, that's okay. But still check them out, because I think there's a lot of really interesting and inspiring stuff that they put on their page. So go ahead and just at least follow them and see what they're up to. And you might find that you never know. It might inspire you to do something. It might inspire you to tell a friend to try something. You never know what can come from it, but I think there's a lot of good that can come from it. So Nathaniel's Hope, check them out on Facebook. I think that's a really cool organization. A lot of cool people.
That's awesome. Thank you for bringing that up, and I'll definitely check it out. And yeah, I hope people check these out, because that's a really cool thing that, last couple episodes that you've mentioned, something where people can, go and help or do anything, even just raising awareness about, something like that is very cool. So yeah, thanks a lot for mentioning that, man. I'll make sure that I check it out, and then I'll put a link to it on my show notes page so people can go. If you want to go to eartotheretravel.com /podcast, you'll be able to check that out there. So yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Cool, man. No, thank you. Always fun chatting with you, buddy.
All right, man. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and get Central Florida, get Walt Disney World ready, because we're coming to to take over for a few days. So thanks again, man. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.
Likewise, man. Catch you later.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you once again to the one and only Johnny Shortsleeve for stopping by. It's always a lot of fun when he comes by. Let's face it, it's every other episode at this point, but it always is a blast talking Disney with Mr. Shortsleeve. I really hope we were able to help you this week. I hope if you have a trip coming up, you'll now have an idea on how to better prepare for it. And if we did help, if you really did enjoy this episode, please just tell someone about it. Tell your parents, tell your brother and sister, tell that one person in your life that really, really needs to start using Butt Shield. That's what it's really called. You can look it up on Amazon. That's where I get it. It does really help with the chafing in the park. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Word of the Week podcast each and every Wednesday morning. So thank you again so much for listening. And until next time, have a great week. Bye-bye.